Hey guys, so I was asked to do a video on reloading. A friend of mine wanted to get into it. Unfortunately, we live on opposite sides of the country, so I told him that I would make a series of videos and put it on YouTube. Now, I just want to break it into several parts. We'll start off on the first video, just the basic tools that's going to be required. And we'll go on from there. We'll go into some terminology and then we'll start demonstrating. So we'll use 303 British as our cartridge of choice for today. There's a few things that you absolutely have to have regardless of your setup. First, you're going to need some method of measuring powder. Now you can either use a digital scale that measures in grains, which is super easy, or you can use these little scoops made by Lee Precision. Most of the stuff I have is made by Lee. It's very economically priced and it's good quality stuff. These come with a little chart that tells you on here, it'll say, I don't know if you can see it, but this one says 2.8 cc's, and they have charts with all the powders in them, and it tells you how much for each one. It's always good to double check with a scale of some sort. With these, all you do is you scoop your powder out of your dish. You take something, some type of a straight edge, credit card, bank card, business card, anything, and you just run it over the top, flatten it out, dump it in. A set of quality calibers. There's a few measurements that you're going to need. One of them is your case length, and this is not so crucial that it has to be an exact length, but it has to be under a maximum length. I think 2.22 inches for 303. Or maybe that's 2.775 on that one. But you want them all the same so you can crimp them all in the same, especially if you're using the roll crimp. And you're going to want to double check your overall length of your cartridge to make sure it'll fit in your magazine. And it never hurts to measure the diameter of your bullet now and then, because especially if you're loading more in one caliber, you don't want to get them mixed up. If you're unsure about something, you always want to check it. So that's what those are for. You're going to need a set of dies of some sort. You're going to need a press, unless you go with the Lee loader, Lee Classic loader I think it's called. They're really small. It'll come in a little box similar to this, and basically you've got, all it is a sizing die, and then you turn it around, you can use it for a seating die. I don't think I have one of those around here. If I do, I'll show it later in another video. So you're going to need a die set, you'll need a sizing die, and you'll need a seating die. I've also got a powder die, but that's not necessary. You'll need a press. If you haven't already bought a press, I highly recommend a turret press. It's not for speed of loading or anything, but the dies can be tricky to set up, and once you set them up in a turret, they're done. You don't have to mess with them again. So like if I wanted to change from these dies, which are for 303 British, take them out and drop in these ones, which are 357. Piece of cake. Done. So that's not to say a regular single stage press won't work. It certainly will. I have one of those as well. just find this way more convenient, and for the extra money, like it's only like another $30 or $40 to get the turret press if you stick with Lee products. Another product they make is it's a C-frame single stage press. If you're doing any rifle calibers, I don't recommend that press. I broke 2 of them in a row. Probably less than 2 or 3 rounds of bullets through them. They're just not made for rifle calibers. And it wasn't a big caliber, it was .30-30 I broke it with. So, that's that. Continuing on with the tools. My little pointer here that I have is for trimming your overall length of your cases. Let me drop something. So you'll get, if you go with this type, you'll get a cutter. Sometimes they come with a ball grip, sometimes they don't. Mine didn't, I bought the ball grip separately. With that comes this little chuck. So you get those 2 pieces together. And then for each caliber that you're doing, you'll need these 2 pieces, and they also come together. This is a shell holder, and this is just a little gauge. Screws into your cutter. It'll be obvious. You don't want to over tighten it, just turn it until it stops. And this is machined to the diameter of the case, as well as the length of the case. It has a little centering pin there, and you just put it in. Sorry, start with the other one. The other piece that comes with the shell holder for each cartridge goes in there. Tighten it up. You can hold on to this. You can put this in a drill. I think Lee might even have a couple other attachments for it. So you can either hold it and turn like this, or you can put this in a drill, hold it still, turn the drill on. Either way will work just fine. You pretty much need a length gauge and a shell holder for every one. They'll always come as pairs, so you can't buy just the length gauge. Unless, I think, if you go onto the Lee website, maybe you can buy them individually as under their parts spot. But if you know your cases, there are some that'll work for multiple calibers. 308, for example, will also work for .30-30 on the cutter, but you need a different shell holder. And for the $4 or $5 to buy them in a pair, compared to probably maybe $1 less to buy the individual parts, might as well just buy them in pairs, keep them together. That's that. Once you've trimmed it, you have your little chamfering tool. Just goes in, then turn it over and do the outside. That'll take any sharp edges off. This one and this one comes together. This is primer pocket cleaner. One side for large primers, one side for small. Put that in there and give it a turn. This has got a primer in it, so yeah. So here's one with no primer. Now you can see how dark that is. There's no shiny bits in there. Yeah, still no shiny bits, but it's nice and clean now. You can. This is black powder cartridge, so you'll never get that clean anyway. So that's pretty much that. I'll note on the die sets, if you buy a Lee die set is going to come with your shell holder. If you buy almost anything else, you're going to have to buy that shell holder separately. Now I have different die sets. There's a Lyman set. That's 3855. Here's actually this is Lyman as well. that's a lineman set. That's a 5070. I've got a couple other ones around though. I've got a 3030 set by Pacific. I've got another set of something by RCBS. I think that's the 44. But yeah, they all work fine. I haven't noticed any pros or cons to any of the more expensive dies. If anything, I find the Lee dies are the most user-friendly, because for adjusting bullet seating, that's the one that you're going to do most of the adjustment with. It's got this real simple, easy to operate knurled piece. You turn it, you're done. The other sets, not all of them, most of them, will have this type of a setup where you've got your die body, and you've got another piece, then you got a little piece of rod that has your decapping pin and a little tensioning nut. That's on your resizing die. And you've got on the seating die, you've got similar to what Lee has, but they have a little lock nut there, so you almost need tools to use them and set them up. On the Lee dies, this has got a little O-ring on it, so it's not going to go anywhere on you. There's a bit of tension. You still turn it easily with your hands, but I don't want to mess with it because it's set right where I'm at. I'm using a powder through die, as I mentioned. Now that powder through die is a rifle charging die. There's nothing special about it. It'll do just about any rifle. It's just real convenient on these type of presses, because when you're running through your system here, I'll just show you. I don't got any lube on this case, so I'm not going to resize it, but you go up and resize. So we'll push here to load a primer, then it primes. You just index your press, bring it up till it stops, and you dump your powder in the funnel. That funnel comes right out. A little bit. And you just dump your powder right in. Then you turn to your seating, put a bullet on, and you seat. The advantage to this powder die is that after you resize it, you don't have to take it out, line them all up, put them in a loading block, and go on. Some people will want to do that anyways, and that's fine. A lot of people will weigh out every single charge on your scales or with a powder trickler. If you're doing that, you're probably shooting competition, shooting for accuracy, or pinpoint accuracy. So maybe this isn't the setup that you want, but it works well for me. I can shoot 1-2 inch groups out of most of my rifles with this stuff, and I can pump them out fairly quick. So that should cover the press bits. Now you're going to need some way of priming. You got a few options there. There's a hand priming tool that you can use. That's not the right one. With your hand priming tool, you just slide your bullet in there, pull down on the lever, and this is really good because it gives you a real feel of when it bottoms out and you're not over seating, you're not under seating. A lot of the reloading stuff is all done by feel. And you just put your low primers in this tray. Most of the newer ones out now, these trays here and these ones here, they're square. I would say that's probably the one biggest downfall with Lee's stuff, is the primer trays are smaller than, or the Lee primer tray is smaller than the tray that the primers come in. So when you're trying to load them on there, you've always got 2 or 3 that drop out or they're fiddling around with it. The new ones are square and that fit in perfect. So if you're buying new stuff, you won't have to worry about that. Powder I already mentioned. So for components, brass, of course. That's a loaded round. Brass you're going to need. You can buy new brass, you can save your brass, you can pick it up at the range. There's dozens of different ways to get brass. One of the most effective ways, or most cost-effective ways, is to buy once fired brass. Free brass, of course, is always nice. For this particular caliber, the 303, it is used here in Canada still to a certain extent. It's a good round. Our military, or parts of our military still use it. The Canadian Rangers, which is sort of an observer corps for anyone who's not familiar with them, they do a lot of observing, search and rescue assistance, that type of stuff. They practice with it and they have shoots, so a few times a year there is quite a bit of this that comes on the market. Other than that, you can buy new stuff, or you can just save your stuff. If I don't have any and I can't find any once fired stuff, if it's a common caliber, I'll just go buy some factory ammo and shoot it and save the brass. And you know, if you're just getting into this and you're watching this video, chances are you don't have any friends that are reloaders, so tell them to save all their brass for you too. A junkyard also, a lot of times, especially around hunting season, when hunting seasons open up, people go around to the ranges and they gather all the brass up. They sell it for scrap. So, it's a shame, but I try to intercept that. And I know the people at the scrapyard pretty good. They just let me go back and dig through the bin and pick out anything that's good, and I give them whatever they ask for. Basically, they have a set price for brass, and that's what I pay, and it usually ends up around, for this size cartridge, I would say I'm probably paying $3 to $4 $100. So, that's that. Let's see what's next. That's the brass. Powder. Powder can get expensive if you're ordering it, because you have to pay dangerous good fees. I try and buy, either buy in bulk through club orders, or get your friends together and buy a bunch. Some websites, like, well, I'm not sure what they be because I haven't never ordered through them, but we're going to do websites like Cast Bullets and stuff like that. I'm just throwing those numbers out there, or those names out there, but I think some of them, they do community orders. But I try and get mine through the club, my local gun club, which I'm a member of. They do order a couple times a year, and I get in on that, so saves a lot of money there. As for powder, now primers, look up there in the corner, up here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's about 7,000 of them up there. I did find a deal on those. There's a website here in Canada that currently sells them for $30 a thousand. You spend over $200, free shipping, and they also cover dangerous good fees. So I took advantage of that. Unfortunately, they don't sell powder or bullets, but take what you can when you can, I guess. The projectiles, expect to pay anywhere from 20 to, well, sky's the limit, but generally anywhere from 20 to 50 cents a piece. These ones I got considerably less than that, because these are some new old stock that I found. There was a part box of 57 and a full box of 100. I got them for about half price. And there's nothing wrong with them. Just because they're old doesn't mean they're no good. Other than that, generally most places $30, $35 for a box of 100. That's for high velocity rifle bullets. If you're just plinking with cast bullets or copper plated bullets or something like that, you can save considerable amounts of money that way. But that's for another video. So that's pretty much all that you're going to need to get started. Oh, safety glasses. You definitely want a pair of safety glasses when you're doing this. Rubber gloves recommended too, because you are handling lead. But I think that should cover this video, and the next video we'll go into actually prepping the brass and that sort of stuff. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.